We just got done with the Elite Series down on Lake Chickamauga, the final regular season event of 2020. But we got one more event after that. But we caught some fish in this event. Really only used 3 baits that I caught any keepers on. One bait caught most of the keepers. Probably figure out what that's going to be. But this is the Elite Tools from Lake Chickamauga, and we had number 1, far and away, was the Missile Baits D-Bomb. This is a color we call Copper Chopper, and it's got this blue glimmer on one side and a green pumpkin on the other with a copper shimmer in it. When the sunlight hits it, you can really see it. But that was what I was using to punch the mats in Lake Chickamauga. I found a mat back in this one creek. I got 6 bites in there in about an hour and a half in practice, and that was the only area that I had gotten any amount of bites. So I thought there was a pretty strong population of fish back in there. The first day I was able to catch a limit back in that area using the Cashin punch rod. The rod is 711. It's got the counter rotating guides. That's a big deal when you're leaning back on them, like I was saying. But the setup, I had an 1.5 ounce tungsten with a 4/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover worm hook. That is the deal. I had a little bobber stop right in front of that, and then I had 50-pound Sunline X Plasma. Get used to hearing that, because that's a theme here with the Elite Tools of this event. But that's the 50-pound X Plasma. That is super smooth, super strong, does awesome helping the bait get into those mats real easy. And one other little tip I'll show you, little trick. I'll put one of these little Velcro deals on my rod. So when I put, and this, you can use it, wherever your keeper is. But so you put your keeper there, and then I take that little Velcro keeper and I wrap it over top of the weight. So even if the hook should come off, because we all know how braid does, the weight does not go flying around in your boat. So that's just another little quick tip. But on day 2, I caught a couple keepers over in some schooling action, and I think that's what was going on day 2. I had a much tougher day. I caught one punching on the D-Bomb early, and I could not get bit. Couldn't figure out where those fish were going, so I worked all the way around on the far side of this other mat, and there was 2 other boats. Hank Cherry was one of them. The fish were schooling like crazy over there, and I think all that schooling action was sucking the fish out of the mat that I was fishing and was pulling them over there. They were roaming around. That's what those fish do. They have a tendency to roam around in those mats, and all that bait fish action and schooling action was going on about 50 to 100 yards away from the one corner of the mat. And I think that's what I think. A lot of those fish were getting pulled out there because there was a good number of fish out there. And I actually caught 2 keepers. Thank you, Hank Cherry. Good dude. He said, man, come over here, put your boat right here, and just wait, and they'll come up and you can start schooling. I caught fish on a handful of different baits, but the only thing I caught any keepers on, this was all in about an hour, was the old school Zara Spook with no rattles, and had a little hand-tied as Gamakatsu hooks, obviously. Had a little hand-tied feather on the back with some Mylar in it. My buddy Mark Saunders tied it up for me. He is a bait aficionado rod builder as well. And then I had that on a 7-foot Cashin, medium heavy. That's what I like to throw any type of walking baits on. 7-foot medium heavy Cashin Elite Series rod. I have not replaced this one with an Icon yet. And I had that on 30-pound Sunline X Plasma. That's the 30-pound right there. I could cast this bad boy a country mile. I'm telling you, I was launching that thing. And this Daiwa Tatula 6.3 to 1 reel there. So that was kind of my setup on that Topwater. Back to the first day, I had caught a limit in that area punching the old D-Bomb. My buddy, Mr. Copper Chopper. I caught a limit doing that. So I went back out to the main channel trying something new. I found a matted area, looked good, started punching it, no bites. Then I could see a bunch of grass under the surface out on the main channel. So I picked up I didn't even have one. I had to dig into the box and tied one on. My old friend, the Whopper Plopper. This is 130. I think the color's called Yeah You Know It. It's a sexy shad looking color. Had the Gamakatsu hooks on there and another tricked out treble hook from a buddy, Mr. Mark Saunders. And I put an extra split ring on there in order to get some a little extra distance from behind that big chopping back portion. Get a little distance there, but that fish that ate it, he was about a 2 1/4. That had really helped out my 10-pound bag the first day. He just smoked it. He had the whole thing, but it was kind of one of those big swirl bites. And on the Whopper Plopper, I had a little bigger line. I had the X Plasma 60-pound. Now you want to have a little bigger line. 50 is okay, but 60 or a little bit bigger is better when you're throwing the big plopper, because it helps keep the bait up. When you're making a long cast, you got to keep your rod tip up. Had a 7.6 frog rod from Cashin. It's the Elite. Again, another one that's not been replaced yet by the Icons, but it's a 7.6 frog rod, heavy action. Handles this perfectly. And I had a 6.4 to 1 Tatula 150. That 150 with that bigger handle is easier to handle on this, and it has a bigger line capacity. It helps with that 60-pound or whatever big braid that you're using. So that's why I had that wider spool versus the 100. Had the 150 Tatula there. Same reel I use for deep cranking. Works really good for heaving the old Whopper Plopper 130 there. But that was my Elite tools for Lake Chickamauga. Ended up 48th place. Just missed the day 3 cut. It was frustrating, but yet I was thankful because my mat really kind of petered out. My mat area, my mat stuff really kind of petered out. Really disappointed with that. So luckily Hank brought me over and was able to catch 2 more keepers. I think I might have had another one on and then on the way back, I think I might have had another one on with the spook, but they both didn't make it into the boat. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. 48th place. Ended up getting the last $5,000 check, which is good, which helps out the old bank account, helps out all that kind of stuff. And again, going down to Lake Fork here very soon for the last Elite event of the year, and this is the Toyota Texas Fest. Going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Lake Fork is a lake that is legendary, as is Lake Chickamauga and Guntersville and Santee and some of those places we've been recently. But be sure to stay tuned for those recaps. And if you want to see how I caught all these fish, be sure to check out the last video that I just posted. That was going to be the Lake Chickamauga recap. So thank you for Sunline for bringing you these, and thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.